In our TA video, I'll be going over some names I'm looking at for this upcoming week. And this video is going to be a longer video because I'll be going over a lot of names and some sectors. Okay, so first off, it's going to be Qs. Again, if you guys look back at my previous video, I said just if you guys want to wait patiently until we broke above 630, or we could break above 613. And we obviously saw that breakdown once we broke below 613. And now we're still below that level. And really, it's going to be still the same game plan. Price is still pretty bearish since we did break down. Trend is bearish. We did form our lower low. But I want to see if Qs could retest 613 and reconquer that level and break above 613 and hold. And really, that's all I'm going to be looking at for Qs this week. Just keep in mind that we are under the 8 and 21 EMA, so trend is still pretty bearish short term. And just keep in mind that 613 has always been a big and critical level in the past. And if you guys look back, there's been many times where we bottomed and it's acted as resistance. Okay, so again, trend is still bearish. Just wait. I would wait till we retest that 613 level, see what happens when we close above the 8 or 21 EMA, or yeah. So we're going to move on to DIA, which is a name that I did call out for a breakout. I mentioned these arrows, which was played out perfectly. And now we do see that breakout happening with DIA. And now all I want to see is if price could hold above this previous all-time resistance, all-time high resistance. And let's say, price, like I said, price could still continue up, but again, really, I just want to see price retest this previous high and continue up higher. But again, if you somehow close underneath that 496 on the daily or even weekly, I do think that's a bit sus. And definitely going to sit on my hands with that, with this ETF if that does happen. But again, my game plan is as long as you hold above 496, I am very bullish on this ETF. And just make it real simple. I'm not saying we could see price consolidate or dip, but just keep in mind that's all I want. I'm going to be waiting for that confirmation of price respecting this previous highs, and so I could play the bounce back up again. Okay, we're going to move on to SPY real quick. Again, let me delete these drawings real quick. I mentioned this literally game plan for so long now. It's getting old. So again, as long as you're above 690, I do think you could see 700. But again, price has just been literally so ass here that anything could really happen. Again, I haven't been really trading SPY. I've been really focused on Qs and DIA. But again, just stick to the levels. I'm sticking to my levels is 690. We can see 700. But keep in mind that we did see some rejection at 497 and 495. So you guys could definitely mark those levels down. But again, I'm not really looking into SPY at the moment. And yeah, so this is going to be where the juicy part is really quick. And so to cut it short, I'm going to be looking at semiconductors for a possible reversal or breakout. Okay, so that's what I'm kind of looking at for this upcoming week. And yeah, let's get into the first one. Is going to be AVGO. In my Discord, I did call out a possible breakout. And that's exactly what happened, up 7% on the day. And we're going to go over in the video, which I also called out for a demand level. But again, this setup is quite easy. And again, if you look here on the 4-hour time frame, we are forming a kind of, I guess, wedge on the daily. I don't know, like just probably like a flag pattern. Prices getting consolidation. We see multiple rejections here on the 4-hour time frame. Price has respected this trend line multiple times here and also right here on the 4-hour. So what I'm really looking at for AVGO is a break above 340 to see move back up to 360, 359. And again, if you really break above that 360 level, you really have your next level resistance is 380 or roughly 374. But really my main target is this gap resistance here at 381. Okay, so price again, we could be consolidating in this falling wedge. I don't know what to call it. But again, just I would wait till price breaks up above this range. This channel to see a breakout above 340 to see it move to 359 to 380. Again, if we look here on the weekly time frame, price is still in this bearish engulfing candle. So we could still see, price consolidate or even just head back down. But again, if we do close above that 340 or even break above this weekly high, we could definitely see it break out in an AVGO. We did form a bullish hammer candlestick on the weekly time frame, which can act as a reversal candle. And yeah, so again, that's what I'm looking at, is a break above 340, 342. If you guys really want to be patient, I would wait above 345. Okay, and again, if we break below 307, which was a previous open and low here, we could definitely see retest back down to 296 on the daily time frame. So again, what I'm looking at is for a breakout this upcoming week if it does play out for AVGO. Okay, we're gonna move on to NVDA. All right, again, so last week on my Discord, I did mention that we are at this resistance. Sorry, not the resistance, demand zone. And if you look here, roughly, you guys could see where that demand is at right there. So that obviously that did play out. But again, if you guys look back at my previous videos where I mentioned the video, as long as you're holding above 185, that is my bullish pivot. And again, I kind of just seen this. It's a little messed up, but this is what I'm kind of seeing right here. Sorry. We are kind of seeing, I wouldn't even call this a double bottom, but really, no, I wouldn't. Sorry. That is not a double bottom. Sorry. Take that back. But again, all I'm going to say is if we break above 185, we're holding above the daily 8 and the 21 EMA. We could definitely see a retest back up to 193. And above 193, we could definitely see a move back up to 196, which was a previous engulfing high, and multiple highs are right here. But again, if you break above 195.9, you could definitely see move back up to 200. And in my personal opinion, I think once you break up at 200, I think that's just a green flag for NVIDIA, and you could definitely see a bigger move to 210 or even like 230, which might sound insane. But again, if you guys look back at my previous videos, I've always mentioned when price is consolidating this long on the weekly, monthly, whatever, we could definitely see a big move on the way. And if we look here, price is getting definitely tight here on the daily and weekly time frame. Okay, so we could definitely see a move on NVIDIA. And again, so just keep in mind that AVGO is kind of shaping for a breakout, and same as NVIDIA in a way above 185. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. Again, if you guys want to play it safe, I would wait above 193. Oh, actually, I'm not going to even say that because there's so much resistance here, but really my pivot level is a 185. So what I mean by that is just definitely keep an eye on the video above that level, because we could definitely see the next target above 193, 195.9. Again, $200 for NVIDIA. Okay, and again, I've said this multiple times. 180 is kind of sus, and you can see a retest back down to 170 to 175. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next name, which is AMD. Okay, so for AMD, I'm going to make it real quick. On the weekly time frame, we do see a clear double top on the weekly time frame. We have our left top here, our right top there. So again, all I'm going to say is definitely keep an eye on that. So our neckline here of support is at $200, or roughly, 200, or even you could say 190, but I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say $200 or 203. And again, so all I'm going to say is for AMD is price is back at support. We've seen the support act as a bottom multiple times. We've seen this over here, 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 here. So really all I'm going to say is just watch out for AMD if we break back down to 200. But in reality, price is back in demand. So we could definitely see price reverse on the daily or even the 4-hour. And again, we're doing the same thing like it's been doing. We see this bearish breakdown, we're coming right back up to demand. And so I'm really just looking above 213, 212 to see a move back up to 230, but also keep in mind that we are below the EMAs, which could act as resistance, and could act, which could signal that bears are still in control. So that's all I'm really just saying is watch out for AMD at demand level. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go back up to 266. But again, all I'm really looking at is if price does break down from here. And but again, my main eyes are on NVIDIA, really above 185, and AVGO above 340. Okay, we're gonna move on to Tesla. Okay, so for Tesla, it's a bit tricky. So I did mention, I think last week's video is this: if you break above 450, you'll see it break up to 487. We obviously didn't see that happen. You can clearly see that we did get rejected there. And if you look here, in that previous video, I did say that if you break below 420, you could definitely see 400. And guys, we did see that literally play out. And again, all I'm going to be really looking at, again, Tesla did break below my critical support, which is at 420 level, which acted as support for a long time, acted as resistance in the past. So all I'm going to be really looking at is if Tesla could break back above 420. But if we can't, it could be definitely a signal of possibly, I'm not going to say short, but definitely we see that retest back up here and we get rejected back down and maybe form a double bottom. But, I'm not going to play like that. Just definitely keep an eye on Tesla if we break back above 420. And obviously, I highlighted this trend line because this acted as resistance multiple times here, multiple times here. So all I'm saying is if we break back above 420, maybe to see if we could consolidate a bit on the hourly or daily time frame to see bottom signal here and continue back up higher to 440 to 450 on the daily. And you guys get the picture of Tesla when it's above 450, because I do think if you break above 450, you could definitely see it move back up to 47 on the daily. So I'm going to say this again, just watch out for that 420 level. I'm not going to be buying calls here. Again, I'm going to wait for confirmation above 420. I want to see buyers step in, maybe form a higher low back down here to continue back up to 450. But again, if you see that rejection at 420, don't be surprised to see a retest back down to 400 or even lower to 386, which was acted as a bottom in the past, including here. And again, this does look like this did form a bullish hammer, or I think this is called a doji candle on the daily. So definitely keep an eye on that. But again, you're still in a bearish trend. And yeah, so definitely keep an eye on that 420 level. And again, above 420, look for price to be back above 440 or 450. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next name. So I'm just gonna make it real quick. I'm gonna be going over every Max 7 name except for Amazon. Okay, I think Amazon's at a good buy level, but again, it's just gotten beat up quite a bit. I'm not really interested in that chart right now. So we're gonna move on to Meta. So again, for Meta, if you guys look back at my previous video, I did mention that at 741 level was my first target, and I didn't expect this to be. And actually, I did say look for that retest back down to the 8 or 21 MA, and sadly, Meta did do that, but you are losing that level on the daily time frame, which is at 8 and 21 MA. So all I'm going to be looking at for Meta in the upcoming days, obviously, we need to hold that 650 level. So definitely we need to hold that 650. But again, all I want to see for Meta is if we could break above 675, because again, this is forming just higher lows on the weekly and daily time frame. So again, we could see this price, really break out here. If we could break back above 673. We could break above 673 to see a move back up to 740, and that is when we could see a move back up to, back up to 740. We could definitely see a move to 800 or even, to 792. So again, I'll say it again. Let me delete all these drawings. Is break above 675 for Meta to see a move back up to 700 or even 740 on the daily time frame. And again, my pivot is my bearish pivot on the daily is 650. So if you definitely see price break down below 650, you could definitely see a move back down to 600 or even this gap support here at 626. Okay, but again, I'm not really looking for the downside. I'm gonna be looking to the upside for Meta above 675. Okay, and we're gonna move on to the next name, which is Google. All right, guys. So if we look back in this chart, I've mentioned many times, I like Google as long as you're above that 330 level, and we obviously got that rejection here on the 21 and that 330 level here on the daily. So all I'm going to be really doing is putting an alert above that 330 level. Price did form an inside day, which could be still bullish on the daily. So all I want to see is if price could break above that 330 level to see a continuation back up to 348 or even higher to 350. Okay. Again, below 330, I'm not really interested in Google. So if you guys want to play the shorts or downside, I'll wait until above 318. But again, you did form a nasty bullish engulfing candle on the daily time frame. So I'm not really too interested in Google to the downside. Okay. So again, above 330, I am bullish on Google, and I anticipate a reversal back up to 348 or even these little small highs at 340. Okay. So we're going to move on to the next name, which is Microsoft, which could be a juicy name for some people. If we look here on the daily, if we look here on the weekly time frame, I'm going to show you guys this chart. Well, I'm going to show the monthly time frame. Okay. So I'm going to show this chart. We could even draw this back a little bit lower. Okay. So you guys can see here, price has respected this trend line for a very long time, since 2020. We look here, price has acted as resistance here, acted as resistance here, and acted as resistance here. Okay, and I'm going to show the bottom signals here, acted as support here, acted as support here, and again acted as support right here on the monthly, not monthly time frame, on the daily so far. Okay, so all I'm going to be saying, oh yeah, this is a reporting level as well. I'm going to go over this name. This is actually a really beautiful setup. Sorry, I'm just so fucking thirsty. All right, sorry for my language. And again, so if we look here, this tariff April crash highs is what I'm really looking at for as a critical support. So when I say critical, so my strategy, I just vision every level I put is like literally a momentum. So again, if you break back below these tariff highs, I just think that's pretty bearish. So I literally put that in my mind. Okay, price is below that April tariffs, price is bearish. So really, I do not want price to break back below tariff highs. Okay, so again, price is at the low of this trend line, is at the previous tariff highs. So really, all I'm going to see is if Microsoft could possibly start to form a bottom here. So again, if you break below this level 396 to 390, I think that's where things could get a little bit more scary. And we could possibly see a more correction into Microsoft, and head down lower to even to 346 on the daily. Okay, so again, I'll say this again. So there's three support levels really is the tariff highs, the trendline support, and if we look here on the, if you guys even use this EMAs, is where price is above that monthly ADMA. 6-month ADMA, which has acted as a support in the past here for Microsoft, and you guys can see here, even here on the 6-month chart, which is kind of ridiculous to say, but again, it has acted as support. So again, just definitely keep an eye on Microsoft. If you look here on the RSI indicator, I think it is still oversold on the daily. So definitely keep an eye on that. Oh no, sorry. Yes, it's still oversold. And yeah, just also keep in mind that price did form this bearish engulfing candle, which is bearish, but you did form that bullish hammer candlestick. So you could definitely see Microsoft consolidate a bit more, but just keep in mind below that 392 level, things could get really scary for Microsoft. Okay, and again, price is oversold on the daily, so we could definitely see price bounce here and maybe retest 425 or even the EMAs on the daily time frame, which could act as resistance. Okay, so all I'm going to be saying is that the reason why I'm showing this chart is just keep an eye on Microsoft, because things could bounce here or possibly bottom, since price is back at the low of this trend line, which has acted as support and has bottomed here many times here on the weekly time frame. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next name, which is Apple. Okay, alright guys, if you guys look back at my previous videos, I did mention this bottom happened here on Apple. I even literally called it out that we could see that retest, price retest to previous support, and continue that breakout, which played out perfectly. And again, price is at that resistance for 280. So all I'm going to be really saying is this, right? I'm going to put an alert above that 280 level, right? Okay, I'm going to put an alert above 280. But again, price at the top of the range. So really, we could definitely see Apple head back down to this previous range bottom here on the daily, so which is 265. I'm not saying that could happen, but definitely keep that as a possibility, and we could retest the 80 EMA here or the 21 EMA on the daily time frame and continue back up higher for Apple. So again, if you guys want to play it safe, what I'm going to be doing is wait above 280, or we can retest back down to 65 on the daily and wait for a bottom signal on the 4-hour or on the daily time frame. And again, if you got, I don't like taking trades in the middle of the chop. So really above 280 and or at 265 on the daily. That's all I'm going to be really saying. So break about 280 to see move back up to previous all-time highs at 288 or even 290 or 300. We make it that far. But yeah, so price is the top of resistance, and we could see that retest back down to 265 for Apple. Okay. So we're going to go on to the 3 more names, and then we're going to go on to sectors. It's going to be a longer video today, which I mentioned. So JP Morgan. Again, guys, this was a previous bottom. I signaled this. I literally did a YouTube video on it. This acted as support. So now we're back above that resistance. And I mentioned again, if you break above that 302, we could see that reversal. And I did. It's definitely playing out. Again, so if we break above that 316, which we did, is we could definitely see that 330 level or roughly previous all-time highs at 337. Again, so all I'm going to say for JP Morgan is maybe we see more continuation back up to 332. Maybe we see that a flag play out here where price consolidates, we retest this resistance at support at 316 and continue on higher for JP Morgan. Again, your support levels is 316, and you want to use that daily 8 and 21 EMA as support here as well. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next financials name, which is AXP, American Express. So this name is pretty tricky for people that are beginners, I think. Price is still obviously bearish, but if you look here on the forward time frame, you are forming this downward channel, which we're kind of seeing that playing out on the breakout. So again, here I'm going to mark down the levels here, acted as support here, acted as support here, acted as resistance here. And we're kind of seeing that breakout happen right now. But really, all I want to see if American Express could break above 365. Because if we see that play out, I want to see price get rejected here, maybe consolidate, then continue back up higher to this previous resistance here at 385. So again, my play for AXP is if we could break above 365 to see it move back up to 385 on the daily time frame. Again, if you guys want to get if you guys want to be aggressive, I would. I'm not going to say anything because it's still downward channel, and you are getting rejected at 21 MA. So really, again, all I'm going to be looking at is if AXP could break above that 365 to see it break out to previous all-time highs here. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next name. Again, I'm not looking at this name below 365. I'm just definitely keep an eye on that on this chart. Yeah, for that, because it is kind of breaking out here. All right, so the next name, which is tricky and pretty expensive for people that have smaller portfolios, but again, I'll be looking at this name and I'm going to show you guys why this name could break out. So if we look here on the daily time frame, price has been consolidating for quite some time now. If we look here on the weekly time frame, price is literally 4 weeks in a row of this small ass range between 1,062 to 1,030. Again, so really, I'm going to be looking at this. If price could break back above 1,062, we could definitely see move to 1,085. But really, my real play, if you guys want to play it patient and smart, is above 1,085. We could definitely see it break out to 1,020 or even retest this all-time high at 1,035. Again, price is in this channel here. Again, I'm going to draw it and show I'm not BSing. So look, acted as support here, acted as support here, acted as support here. Again, acted as resistance here, acted as resistance here, and acting as resistance here. And so we're kind of seeing that breakout possibly happen here in the after hours on the 4-hour. So again, above 1,062, that's pretty aggressive play. But again, if you do break above 1,062, 1,065, you could definitely see that breakout happen to 1,085 and so on. We could see that breakout play out on the daily time frame. Again, so that's what I'm really looking at for Lily, is a break above 1,085 or 1,062 to see a move back up to 1,035. Okay. Oh no, 1,135. I apologize. So 1135. Okay. And I'm just gonna say this price did form this bearish engulfing, but we did form a bullish hammer candlestick. And if you guys are interested in playing the downside, my support is 1,035, because then if you do break above 1,035, which is a previous low here, you could definitely see price retest this low here at 993. Okay, so that is it for Lily. Again, your support level and resistance is 1,062 and 1,035. Okay, and we're gonna move on to the next. Actually, we're done with names now. Now we're gonna go on to the sectors. 4 sectors that I'm looking at is XLF. Guys, I mentioned the bottom here. This falling wedge played out perfectly. I said look for that retest back down to support, and we got rejected again, and another retest, and now we're back above this resistance here at 54.17. So again, I just want to show you guys that this could be still a tricky play in my opinion, because we did form these top wicks here. So definitely keep an eye on that here on the daily. But again, we are kind of forming a possible U-shaped reversal on the daily time frame, and I want to delete this resistance. Just definitely keep an eye on that resistance I mentioned right here, because we did top here in the past. But again, clearly we did respect that support. That resistance here at 54.17. But now we did see that daily candle close above that 54.17. So again, if we do see that play out, we could definitely see move back up to previous all-time highs of roughly at 56.70. And again, if we look here on the weekly time frame, price did form this reversal candle on the weekly time frame, and now we're starting to see that play out. And now you did get that weekly candle close above that resistance, and price is still in a bullish trend. So all I'm going to say is definitely keep an eye on financials, which I mentioned 2 names, JPM, AXP. So again, 54.17, I anticipate a retest back up to previous all-time highs at $56. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next sector, which is healthcare. Again, guys, if you guys look at the top holdings for healthcare, Lilly is one of the main ones. Another one is ABBV. And it's kind of funny that all these names are kind of consolidating in a flag pattern. So when that kind of means is definitely keep an eye on the top sectors, top holdings, because this could definitely break out and continue higher. Okay, so keep that in mind. Lilly and ABBV are possibly forming a possible breakout, right? So if we go back to XLV, price is still trending, still consolidating, and did form bullish engulfings. So really I'm going to be looking at is if this sector could break out here possibly soon. Okay, so if we drop our trend lines, we definitely see a pennant or a flag, or whatever you guys want to call it. So again, I'm going to draw my circle out my resistance here, resistance around here, support here, and obviously support here. So now we are seeing that breakout happen on the 4 hour. But again, if you want to play it smart, I always go back on the daily highs as my entry, really, unless you guys are aggressive, right? Again, so keep in mind that daily 8 and 21 EMA are about to cross over. So again, if we see a breakout on Lilly or ABV and these other healthcare names, we could definitely see this breakout play out for healthcare. So again, your target above roughly 159, you could definitely see 160, which that's just such a nasty play. But really, if you guys want to play it by technicals, it's the length of the low and high, and we could see a breakout. From the breakout happen, we could definitely see a move to 164 to 165 on the daily. Okay, so again, I'm going to be waiting above 160, but really all I'm really looking at is if Lilly and ABBV could break out. Okay, sorry. So definitely keep an eye on. I think this is from our experienced traders, in my opinion, and always do your own due diligence. Okay, we're gonna move on to the another 2 sectors I'm not gonna be trading, but just definitely keep an eye on. All right, so if we look here I'm gonna put the RSI back up. All RSI is definitely overbought on the daily. If you look here in the past times, we have topped since price has been overbought. And if you look here, we are forming a bearish divergence here on the daily time frame. And so price action has been going up. We're seeing the strength of bulls of lowering. Okay, so that is why we're seeing that bearish divergence. And normally when we see these bearish divergences, we could see price tend to reverse. Obviously, I'm not saying, oh, price is going to reverse. This could obviously continue back up higher. But what I'm really saying is if we could see a short-term top or consolidation in energy, we could definitely see money flow into tech sector or more risk on, more risk on names, more risk on sectors, ETFs. You guys get the picture. Again, I'm not saying we're going to top. I'm just saying keep an eye on this for possible, since price is overbought, just definitely keep an eye on this name since price has been overbought. And again, if we see a top in energy for a short-term top, we could definitely see money flow into tech sector. And again, if we look here in the weekly time frame, wow, it's even overbought on the weekly. Again, we could definitely see price retest and continue back up higher. So again, you always want to use previous all-time highs as support, okay? And yeah, I'm not going to be playing this sector. I'm going to be having an eye on it if we do start to see a top signal, okay? Next and last sector I want to talk about, which has been going on a crazy ass run, is XLP, okay? XLP, again, it's the same type of play for energy. It's already breaking out. I'm not going to be chasing this, obviously. But look, price is extremely overbought on the daily. And if you look back at the previous all-time highs, all-time RSIs, is we have seen price top here with the RSI indicator. Okay, I'm not saying pricing the top out, but definitely keep an eye on this sector if we start to see a top signal, because consumer staples could definitely this XLP could definitely be a defensive sector, and we're obviously seeing that playing out with XLE and XLP. So again, all I'm saying is definitely keep an eye on this since this is overbought. So if we start to see XLE and XLP start to top, we could definitely see a rotation in the sectors that I mentioned, which is like tech, more semiconductors, which I've mentioned, like AVGO and NVDA. So definitely keep an eye on this. And again, if you start to see price consolidate, right, just, always watch out for all-time highs or all-time resistances. So really, my all-time resistance is at 83 bucks. Okay, that is it for right now. It was a long-ass video. Hope you guys liked it. If you guys could drop a like and a comment, I would gladly appreciate it. And yeah, peace out, guys, and hope you have a great day. Thank you.